with Legendary Vegan Art, and today I'm going to be coloring this picture of Clash that I inked the other day. Now, I've got some new watercolors. Like I said in one of my last videos, I've been using Colors of Nature watercolors as well as a couple of Holbeins, and a friend of mine has let me use some of her Daniel Smith watercolors. I have some of these extras in a tray up here. So I've got a pretty good palette going on right now. I'm using phthalo blue, Prussian blue. I actually don't much care for these ultramarine blue and ultramarine purples that I got from Colors of Nature. I don't really like their working properties in watercolor. They tend to granulate a lot. So I've been sort of phasing those out in favor of Prussian and phthalo. I've got a quinacridone magenta. This is a Cotman deep, cadmium red deep hue, which again is sort of a cheaper color that I'm phasing out in favor of this nicer permanent alizarin. I've got a Cotman lemon yellow, which is actually quite nice. Then I've got my yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and burnt umber. I use these a lot. So I'm going to start mixing up a nice skin tone, I think, because there are a lot of skin tone areas and they touch on a lot of color areas, so I'm going to have to try and get that done and dried first, so I can jump around and work on different things a little more. Let's get some of this red. It's nice orange tan. And I found I like to knock my skin tone oranges down just a little bit with this nice permanent violet, which I think is a dioxazine violet. And add a lot of water to this. Still might adjust it back and forth a little bit, but this is a good place to start. Still kind of orange. Let's try this up here. You always want to test out your paints with watercolors, because watercolors aren't that easy to rework if you've made some sort of mistake, which I do sometimes. Okay. What do I think of this? It's actually pretty light. I may have overdone it with the water. Let's get some more paint. There we go. Red. It's a little too dark. Might have had it right before. That's okay. With watercolor, there's a lot of push and pull. Just a touch. Oops. Just a touch of that. All right. Let's not get all of this all at once. Dab off a little so I'm not putting down a ton of paint. All right. I think I want that just a little watery. A little more. All right, that's good. All right. I'm a little bit afraid that some of these old character designs that I like so much are going to become obsolete since the new comic book's out, the new Jim and the Holograms comic, which if you're at all interested, I suggest you check out. It's great. Being a little facetious about the old designs going away. I'm sure they're not going anywhere. In fact, some of the alternate covers for the new comic are pictures by Amy Megerson, the artist, of all of the old characters. So, whether it's a tribute to them or a send-off, I'm not sure, but it's good to see them. I like how this acrylic ink really isn't going to pick up at all by putting a lot of watercolor over it, because acrylic just doesn't really go anywhere after you set it down. It's waterproof when it's dry, and this is good and dry. I really want to get this face done and dry fairly soon, because she has makeup, I'm going to need to paint over that, and I'm not going to be able to paint those nice sharp edges when her skin's all wet. A friend of mine, since I use synthetic brushes, I'm using this Raphael Chiral synthetic sable brush recommended to me by the same friend who I borrowed these paints from, the very talented artist Keisha Siemens. It's a great brush. I may well get more of these, but I feel like I can do just about everything I need with just this one round one, at least for moderately sized pictures. May need to mix up more of this skin tone. Now this is an illustrative picture and not like a, a fine art, more realistic picture where I'd be doing much more, shading based on observation, based on light sources. This is based on the sort of cell shading you'd see in old cartoons. So I'm not worrying too much about any of that. One of the reasons I wanted to get into watercolor was because I needed to find something a little less expensive than Copic markers for coloring my artwork. Because as much as I love Copic markers, and as much fun as they are to use, they're just very expensive. And with paints I can get a few good colors and mix up all the hues and shades I need. Right, it looks like I went a little heavy on the arms and face compared to the legs, so I might just dab that up really lightly. I don't know if that's making a difference, but I think it's okay. Alright, well that skin is drying a little bit. I'm going to mix up a nice pink for this belt. Gotta keep hitting my tablet over here so my reference picture doesn't go away. And for this kind of light pink, I like to take a nice mix of my quinacridone magenta and my red. A little heavier on the red than the magenta. Well, it comes out to a nice pink. Let's get some more water in here. Now, on its own, I think this is going to be way too strong. Yeah. A lot more water in here. I'm learning more and more about watercolor and trying to get myself out of the habit of lightening things with white paint, which you really don't need to do in watercolor. You just let the white of the paper work for you. That's good. But old habits die hard. Kept trying to paint things my normal way, like I learned with acrylics and oils, and it wasn't working out so hot. Great. Great, great, great. But yeah, it's just sort of a journey learning any new medium. You have to refigure out what tools you like, what techniques to use. It's fun. It's a journey. Aside from, let's see, what have I been using? Colors of Nature, Cotman paints here and there, Daniel Smith and Holbein. I've actually been interested in the Core brand. It's made by the Golden company that make golden acrylics. I'm actually just about to order some of those. I have a Core Prussian blue that I like a lot. This is spilling over. Shouldn't have done that so soon. Well, I knew what I was getting myself into. So we can get a little water on here and just dab that away. Because there's a wet edge here, this pink is going to keep flooding into this area, so I'm going to have to pick up a lot more. This area. I'm going to fix it later. Right. With the lightest little dab with the corner of my paper towel. Okay, what do we do next? This is pretty dry. Let's drop in the pink on these shoes here. Painting with this sort of, flat color illustrative style is a little easier and more straightforward than a more, I don't want to say painterly, but more fine art style. Because I've got to tone down a lot of your colors to be much duller and less saturated for realistic, real-life sort of paintings. But for these cartoon characters, the colors can really pop. You can use a lot of fuller strength colors. It's more fun. Go a little crazy with it. Once again, I should stress that even though I'm throwing out a lot of ideas here, these aren't meant to be tutorials or how-tos. It's just me messing around with paint, having some fun, because I don't have the best idea of what I'm doing. I'm learning as I go. See, I want to outside the line here a little, but instead of lifting that up, I think I'm going to apply a little white gouache when I'm done. So let's make up a nice purple for the hair. So I'm going to try grabbing this Prussian blue. This is very strong. Again, I really like these core watercolors. I'm ordering more soon. I'm really impressed by how dark and how strong I can get these colors, which is important. Because you can always make a color lighter, but you can't make it more intense if it's weak out of the tube. More of this. Right. Wow, okay, great. It's my Holbein magenta and my core Prussian blue. That's quite purple. Alright. A lot of water for this one. Let's just fill this empty tray up with water so we can... Let's fill a few of these up. Gonna need all throughout this painting. Let's keep this side a little lighter. Keep turning this tablet back on. Let's see, I think the reference image at least is a little bluer than this, so I might go back in with a little more Prussian blue. But man, it's a really funny moment. Not funny, it's a really fun moment when you find a pigment or a color, a particular color that you really like. And I haven't been using Prussian blue in my older work, but I decided to try it out when I started watercolors, and it's just a great color. I like it a lot. I'm gonna find more excuses to use it. Get this done, not taking too long. Don't want to get any sort of hard edges in these larger areas, but I do have to work quickly, work carefully to get in all these little delicate little areas. I was originally shying away from using the permanent violet for this, but I think I mixed up just about the same shade. Worried it would be too strong, but it looks great. So who's laughing now? This guy. I don't want to leave any of these little white specks here. I can get them while I can. Okay. That's the thing I was saying earlier, is if you leave one of these sort of edges just here to dry while you go back to some other area, you might get a hard edge. You have to work that out later if you can. So I'm going to try and preempt that from happening. Found it very valuable when learning watercolors to read a lot and to watch a lot of videos online of people making art, people painting. I take up new media and new techniques fairly often, and I'm always, doing my homework, looking up videos, looking up how-tos, turning over a lot of information in my mind at all times. And you have to kind of saturate yourself with this information, and that really helps you learn quickly, pick up new techniques. Even before I've got some of these materials, if I've just ordered them or just thinking about getting them, I'll still watch a lot of videos and try and take in as much information as I can. That way when you start, you have a lot of information sort of in the back of your head. Even if you can't quite place it all when you're watching it or when you've just started out, it's still there. When you go back and revisit it, you sort of pick it up even faster. Well, that's just my experience. I don't know about you guys. I say this because I'm, again, not in art school. I'm just me. Actually did take some art classes when I was in college, but they were all beginner classes. They rehashed a lot of the same stuff. It was a lot of stuff that was so theoretical as to be not really applicable in any specific use. So, try not to wind up there. Don't do what I did. But that's the benefit of having the internet. You can learn to do whatever you want at any time. Give yourself a weekend and a small budget for materials and pick up a new hobby any old time. It's coming together really well. I really like how this is drying up here. Up here, sorry. Can't see where I'm looking. Okay, wow, okay. Sometimes the grain of the paper betrays you, and it looks like it's getting really grainy down here, but it's drying so soft and smooth up here. Really happy with that. Okay. Well, I do need to do the green of the jacket and the sort of turquoise of the collar up here. But I need to give the hair a little more time to dry. I don't want to have any more backgrounds like I just had a minute ago. Didn't mix up enough of this skin color. Let's get a bit of this for my corrections. Water, touch of violet. It's a little too orange, more ochre. It's about right, but a little too thick. Keep having to turn my tablet on. Okay. I hate to waste paint. I always feel like I'm, oh boy, dabbing off so much extra paint water on my paper towel here before I start going in. But that's just how you gotta do it. Using a lot of pigment. Alright. Skirt. Okay, I'm gonna give this a minute to dry and I'll be right back. We'll do the jacket, and maybe the face paint, and some background and call it a day. Okay, coming back in to mix this green for her jacket. I think I'm going to take some more of this Prussian blue. Not too much because it goes a long way. A nice big fistful of this yellow. See what we get and work from there. It's not enough yellow. What? Oh, too much yellow. Yikes. It's all grainy on me. What's this look like? Actually quite close to what I need. May work some of this yellow down. Up here. This green doesn't need to be super intense. Let's get a little water so it can flow nicely. Don't want to use it all up like I did last time with my skin tone. Okay, this looks good to me. But don't end up needing to mix more of this. I hate to make that mistake again and again, but you know, live and learn. Man, whose bright idea was it to put all these pointies on this jacket? See that collar on its own. Glad I put that in there to sort of give the whole picture a little depth. The sketch didn't look like much, but with colors it's really gonna add a lot, I think. So I'm trying to get this top portion done so it'll dry sooner and I can get to that collar. Flip this over. Can't see the camera and my desk at the same time because it's over my head. Hope I'm not covering anything the way I'm holding my hand. There you go. Much better. Let's work into these corners. No shame in moving your picture all around so your handedness doesn't work against you. Get into all these little nooks and crannies. Alright, this, and didn't create too much of the edge here, let's soften that up a little. Don't want to overwork this. If I get a little edge there, oops, got this little green bit here. So, one thing I'm curious about, you can let me know in the comments, or you can contact me on Twitter. I'll have my contact information in the description. Let me know if you like seeing these full speed and hearing me ramble over them, or if you know, like speed paints with the speed dialed up a bit. I actually don't like those too much because, like I said, I learn a lot from other people's art videos and learn a lot from their process and their thoughts, and not just what they're doing, but why they're doing it and, you know, what their rationale is. It's very valuable to me. And you don't really get that out of speed paints. So, let me know what you think on that subject. I'd like to hear it. Should have put that purple in there, but oh well. Okay, let's mix up a nice turquoise. Actually, I might not need to do anything other than lighten up this phthalo blue. It wouldn't hurt to use this greeny water here. Yeah, this is pretty much what I need. A bit more of that. Dab it so it's not so wet, and yep. Okay, that's plenty of paint. Let's dab that down. Carefully. Okay. Okay. Pretty soon I'm going to need to add our makeup, lipstick, a little purple in here for the hair and the earring, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my whitewash and correct that little bit out of bounds I did. Haven't done this much before, so be a fun experiment, see if it works. If it doesn't look that good, if there's a little white splotch there, no big loss. It's a small area. That looks pretty good to me. Hope it dries well. Let's see how it looks on camera. Looks okay. Sorry about the waviness of the video. My desk's a little unstable. I'm trying to figure out a solution to that, but it is not quite there yet. You know, I think I have some very fine markers I might be able to use for this eye makeup. Let me hunt those down. Alright. Oops, dropped it. That's why you gotta collect all sorts of weird art supplies, because you never know when you're going to need some of these at an odd moment. Here's a fine blue pen. I know I've got some other colors kicking around. Here we go.
purple somewhere, and that would be really useful. Oh, here it is. Nope.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Blue, purple, red, brown. Very, very fine point pens. That'll be great for the eye makeup. Let me switch to a different picture. Is the eye makeup a little more clear? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this looks here. Very fine blue lines. Okay. Coming from the corner of the eye up to the edge of this eyelash here. Eyebrows. This blue area. Turning a little dark, but I don't mind. It's crazy makeup, crazy eyeshadows. Gotta be bold. I go over the black of the black of the eyelash itself to sort of restate that. This brown. It's a nice sort of medium orange. Okay, this gives me a lot more control than watercolors would have. Probably still could have done it, but I wanted to give these old markers a shot. It's a nice curvature. There we go. This one comes from about the middle of the eye. There's a nice swooping point. Points a little past the end of the nose. Let's call it about like that. That's why reference pictures are so important. Definitely would not have remembered this if I just gone from memory. Right. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back in with black. I'll find the black pen. What am I saying about loads of them? Here we go. Another one. Good on that eye. Sorry if I'm getting my head right in the video here. Could be done. Okay. Go back in for this brow as well. It's getting a little eaten up. Here we go. You can see it. Okay. And let's see, the far eye has a bit of yellow over it, so I'm going to take some of this lemon yellow, pretty high strength. See if I can just dab it on really carefully. Most people probably won't even notice, but I will know that it's there. That's enough for me. Don't want to overdo it. You've seen me do that. It's no good. Okay. A little water. Fix this earring loop. Think of a background and we'll call it a day. I want this violet to get lost in the sort of pink of the earring. But I think it's fine. Oh, haven't done her lips. Okay. Her lips are pretty strongly pink. I'm going to see what I can do with just magenta. I'm going to go on pretty dry, I think, so that it has more control. Actually, I'm going to get a smaller brush. This is a very, very delicate task. This little guy. Excellent. Fairly dry. Good control here, yes. Always test this stuff out. Try not to get my head in view here. little bit of a smirk. Really careful. Okay. Alright. Cool. Let's see if that purple's drying. Yeah. This is what I love about traditional media, is that they sort of give you a lot of built-in texture. Even if you're painting more or less flat colors. Still adds a lot of visual interest. It's the grain of the paper and the sort of random ways that the watercolor dries. Gives your art a lot more character. Right, I'm going to do a little brainstorming on a background and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, it's about time to get this background done. I'm going to clear off part of my palette so I can get some nice big juicy washes made here. Don't know if you can see it drawn out on the paper. I've got a fairly simple geometric background drawn on here. There's a sort of square, circle, triangle. I want to mimic the sort of crazy geometric patterns you'd see in a lot of, you know, 80s styled videos and games and such. I don't know if you've ever been to an old arcade where they always had all kinds of crazy patterns on the carpets. It seems to be sort of mandatory for that, but I really want to bring back that sort of vibe. And I'm going to fill them in with yellow, cyan, and magenta. Be the sort of primary colors of light. Now let's stabilize the camera a little bit here. I'm going to have to do this in 2 sessions so I can let these dry and layer them over each other. I have to get the square and the triangle done and then the circle done after that. So let's re-energize some of these paints. Yellow, cyan. Okay. Well, these be pretty thin. Didn't want to start with that one. Silly me. Stay soaked. Alright, let's start with some of this stable glue. Not too much paint, but lots of water. Because stable glue is such a strong color, a little bit goes a very, very long way. Let's dab it off. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. I'm not using any special techniques to get a straight line here, just eyeballing it, freehanding it, both at once even. Because I can. Just not going to sweat it too much. These areas where I'm going to get naturally uneven drying are hopefully going to add some more visual interest. Don't know, haven't done anything like this before, so just gonna see how it works out. Drip here, let's see if I can pull that up. Sorry if I'm getting quiet here. I think I exhausted my conversation topics a little while earlier in the video. Spent a little too long off of the, or between shoots trying to just figure out what to do for the background. Now I'm ready to just get it done and move on. We don't reactivate any of these paints if I get a little close to them, but if I do, I don't think it's going to matter much. Just struck me, maybe to keep the character from sort of floating in space, maybe I should have added a little sort of hazy shadow area under her feet, or around where she'd be standing. Don't know if I'll do that. We'll see how it looks. It's just the solid colors first. Not make any rash decisions. Hopefully in these areas that overlap dry, I'm going to get some nice sort of optical color blending in the areas where I'm going to glaze the colors over each other. Just about running out here, but that's fine. Almost done. Okay, there's that. Let's work on the yellow here. I think I put a little too much of that phthalo blue pigment, sort of greening my pool of yellow here. Should be okay though. Let's try and not get my hand in the blue. Yeah, it's coming out just fine. Oops. Yellow. Water. Let's turn this on. Alright, well, there's the background done. I think I'm just about ready to sign this and call it a day. Awesome. Great, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's been a lot of fun painting this, so thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join me next video. Bye.